What is up, everybody? My name is Michael Obazinski, coming to you on the OBO Car Show channel. Today, I am going to be doing a video on the General Motors 3800 engine. The General Motors 3800 engine was a very, very unique engine in the fact that it was so reliable and so trusting that it went from the 1980s all the way to 2008 when its demise. Between 1975 and its debut and its 2008 demise, the 3.8 liter V6 was installed under the hood of more than 25 million vehicles. The General Motors 3800 motor started out as a motor for the Buick Regal in the early 80s. They brought this motor to the Buick Regal, and it was the first car to have it. It was the first iteration of the 3800. Shortly after they released the 3800 regular, they started working on the Buick T-Type line. What that T in T-Type means is it means turbo. The Regal was the first car to have the turbo on the 3800. It was known as the Grand National X, or GNX. The GNX at the time was the fastest production car ever made in the US. Of course, that has been well surpassed now, but back in the 80s, that was very, very impressive, especially for a V6 in a big body car. So after the 1980s Regal, the 3800 spread to a couple more vehicles. It spread to the Monte Carlo, the Cutlass, and the Pontiac Le Mans. These cars were brought to life with the 3800 Series 1 non-turbo NA naturally aspirated. These cars were what brought General Motors to the showroom floor and gained its traction. Putting these engines in these everyday normal cars instead of a sports car made them attractive to older buyers, a lot of older buyers. It had that peppy of a V6, good gas mileage, but it wasn't that big, bulky, boxy V8 that most of the Chevys had at the time. It turned heads, to be honest. It brought on a lot of power for a V6. It really did. After the first iteration of the General Motors 3800, the Series 2 came out. The Series 2 came out in the early 90s. It was released even more widely. All kinds of different General Motors vehicle. This wasn't just Oldsmobile, Buick, and Chevy anymore. This was all of them. The 3800 became so popular so quick. The 3800 Series 2 was brought to the Pontiac Grand Prix, Pontiac Bonneville, the Chevy Impala, the Chevy Caprice. It was brought to the Monte Carlo. It was brought to the Lumina. It was brought to the Buick Regal, Buick LeSabre, Buick Park Avenue. It was brought to a lot and a wide range of vehicles in the General Motors lineup. It was like the most popular engine in the 90s and early 2000s. The most used engine and the most reliable. My personal car, I drive daily. You're going to be shocked and you're going to be like, seriously? And this is why I always recommend a 3800 Series 2 engine or Series 3 even today. Even if it has 120 to 150,000 miles, it is still worth it. I have a 1999 Grand Prix GT Coupe Black. It has the 3800 Series 2 with a whopping 240,000 miles. Original transmission, no new transmission. 240,000 miles. And all it took to get it running again, some plugs, some wires, an oil change, a fuel injector, and I was on my way. Of course, in alignment and tires, but that's just maintenance. These cars are just so seamless. They never die. If you take good care of them, the transmission will die before the damn engine, to be honest. And there are people who have these cars with 500,000+ miles and they're on 2 or 3 transmissions. That's just the loyalty of the 3800. It's crazy to me. And the biggest reason Chevy stopped making it is that nobody was buying new cars because the 3800 was lasting so long. It's called planned obsolescence. They couldn't make more money if their engines were going to last so long and nobody was going to buy a new car with a new engine. So that's part of the reason why they got rid of it, is that they weren't making money. They made such a good engine that it cost them money. And it's just sad to me that they got rid of it, because Chevy has never made an engine as reliable as it again. Yeah, the 3.9 is good. Yeah, the 3.5 is better than the 3.1 or 3.4. But it's still, it's not the same. It's not that relic of the past. It's not that third iteration, 30 years of motor. Then the Series 3 came along. The Series 3 was brought to life in 2005. It came with the newly redesigned Pontiac Grand Prix. It came with the Buick LaCrosse, and I think those were the only two at the time. Buick, yeah, because the Impala had the 3.9. The Buick LaCrosse and the Grand Prix got the 3800 Series 3. The 3800 Series 3 brought on some new things, new technology that was needed from the Series 2 iteration. With the Series 3, it brought new fuel injectors for improved economy. The biggest thing that they changed, which was a common flaw in the Series 2, was the intake manifold. They turned the intake manifold from plastic to aluminum. So they made that an upgrade. They also upgraded the throttle by wire. So the new engine, the 3800 Series 3, was no longer cable throttle by the pedal. It was electronic, which that was a big upgrade. There was some issues with that. There was some issues with that, but it got resolved fairly quickly. So overall, the 3800 was a great engine. Chevy perfected that engine so good, they had to get rid of it. It was such a good car. It was such a good engine. I mean, like, there's nothing to it. The demise, the sadness of when it went away, it hurt a lot of people. It really did, because it was such a great engine. The demise of it was 2008. The last car to roll off the production line with a 3800 motor was the 2008 Buick LaCrosse and Buick Lucerne. That was the last year and the last cars to roll off the lot for the 3800. A silence for the 3800 motor. Alright, well, that pretty much concludes this video. This video was on the Chevrolet 3800 motor. We talked about Series 1 through 3, Iteration 1 through 3. We talked about the differences, what made them successful, what brought them to life, the improvements that General Motors made on these engines, and overall, how great and reliable of an engine it is. If you guys have any other specific engines or vehicles you would like me to talk about and reiterate, feel free to comment them down below. Just let me know. I'm good at most cars. I could point out almost every car on the road from the 1980s to the now. My dad was a mechanic for 20 years, and I know a lot about cars, their models, their years. So if you have any cars you'd like me to look up and review, let me know. Shoot a comment down below. Make sure to like this video. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next video.